catch me howling at the moon. Will you find me? Hope you find me. I'll be back home soon. When the sun rises, when the sun
Well, welcome to the Fifth Live Show. Thanks for joining me. I'm Nigel Main, and I'm the host. And if this is your first time here, I'll just give you a bit of background about what we're doing. Come on to that in a second. But what we're all about Excuse me, sir, this happens every time. Every time, as soon as I go live, everything's fine beforehand. As soon as I go live, I start coughing. Hang on. Anyway, right. Thanks for joining me. I hope you've had a good week. It's been an interesting week yet again. Not the negative news stuff, but in terms of AI, and the AI thing really intrigues me, because you've got Bard from Google, you've got more revelations and more activities happening with Copilot and Microsoft and ChatGPT. You've got Firefly from Adobe. You've got new models, new versions coming out from Playground and Stable Diffusion and Midjourney. And so, in a way, it's important to keep an eye on this as to how it affects us as business owners. Now, the point about business owners, and it's business to business owners, I really want to be kind of crystal about that, because what I've learned over the past 20, 30 years is that there is a divide between B2B and B2C. You think, well, of course there is. But not within marketing. Marketing people don't look at them as being different. If you look at recruitment, if you look at job boards, there's no distinction between the two. And this is the critical, absolute, fundamental problem. And I've mentioned this in the previous streams. We are not excuse me, we're not going to help you sell jeans, trainers, cars, boats, anything like that at all. What we're talking about is the for goodness sake, is the ability of a company to enthuse another business to buy from them. And the reason you enthuse them to buy from you is because you can establish and prove an ROI, or a genuine reason for them to enhance their business from buying your product. That's it. That's B2B. Now, the strategies that are being imposed, and I say this, I choose my words carefully, the strategies that are being imposed on businesses are consumer-based, consumer-orientated strategies. And that's why they keep failing. And if you think this is the 5th of a series of 6 very specific live shows, I might have some news next week about how we continue this. And I hope that I this frog in my throat, maybe it's a nervousness thing. Maybe it's that, I don't know. But I'm sure you'll bear with me on it. So, in terms of businesses being encouraged to follow these strategies, you have to look at what people are doing, and you have to look at the success rates. And that's what these streams are based upon. If there was not a problem, I'd have nothing to say. I'd just be doing what everybody else is doing. You just do the demand gen, lead gen, ABM, ABX, and then work with BDRs and your sales tech stack, and just get on with Sales Navigator and Salesforce, and that's it. Just get on with it and hope for the best. But if that was hoping for the best, then this show wouldn't exist. And so what I've been doing, and I'm explaining this as if this is the first time you've seen this, what I've been doing is explaining the strategy and the overall infrastructure that you can put in place in your organisation to change the consistency of generating new business. If I had been doing this a year or so and fancied myself just spouting some words of wisdom, then you can switch off. But I've been doing this for 30, nearly 40 years. I know I look so young, but trust me, I've been doing it for that long. So I've done it, I've done the cold calling, I've done all these different things to do with business generation. And I have now identified and isolated all of the different steps and redefined them. And that's why this is the 5th, and next week is the 6th of a very specific group of shows. So if we get onto today's presentation, if you like, what we want to do is look at helping you as a business, as an organisation, understand what needs to be done to maintain that repetition, but also encourage trust. It's all about trust. Do I believe what you're saying? Do you believe what I'm saying? And you go make a decision and something happens. That's selling, is the ability to get somebody else to think the same way you do. That's it. It's not complicated. But the point of we're going to talk. We've talked about over the past few shows about the methodology and approach to create the content that gives the potential buyer the choice to decide how they want to consume your content. For example, you may have one message, but just to put it in writing is not good enough. You have to put it in a format like this, or a video, or a podcast, or some way that your prospects can consume your content, your thought leadership. And that's where the overall problem is. What content do we choose? What do we do? How do we do it? How do we exploit it? And it gets to this point where you go, okay, well, content. So we've all heard of content marketers and all that kind of thing. What we're going to go through today is this. We're going to go through a series of just some points there, looking at first, because you've got all this. Assume you've got these live streams, assume you've got videos and stuff. We're going to look at converting that to a podcast. And the point of this, I just want to click on this because I want to see if I can get rid of those images at the bottom of that screen. I hope that will happen in a second. So, converting your show to a podcast, taking your show on the road, because if you've got this way of communicating and presenting your business, why constrain it just to a screen? And then the other things that can come from that in terms of your presentation, networking, and helping you get the ideas going, getting the creative juices going. Yeah, that's what we're looking at doing. So we move on to. But first, now, I requested this particular piece of content. It came up on my news feed, and I went, I'll have a read of it, see what they're saying. And you think, okay, well, we're talking content marketing, and we're talking about what am I advocating? What are they saying? Oh, is it going to be in sync? It'd be awful if it wasn't. If they're putting out this information, this big organisation like this, lots of exposure online. It'd be really bad if I got it wrong. The first thing it says is short form articles are the second most popular. It's a bit of glee creeping in here, but the second most popular. And what we talked about before was about the format that you need to use when you create written content. It's called a markdown format, so you've got your table of contents and information and bullets and number lists, and internal links, internal SEO, and embedded video and so on. And that thing there about 7 images, they say that 7 images is the optimum number of images to have within a document, because that encourages more people to share your information. So you think, okay, well that's good. So what's first? Video. So, content marketing company saying video is the most popular, most effective, 45% versus 31% in terms of article marketing on articles that are written. So you think, okay, video. Well, that's great. Show me how to do it. Talk to me. It's a 128-page report. Doesn't say anything about video. says everything about writing content, what to do, how long it should be, where it should be posted, all this kind of stuff. Mentions some other bits, like it does mention podcasts, but podcasts are really, really, really not really important. Only 10%. So you think, okay, podcasting. I'm going to talk about podcasting in a minute, but I read a comment by someone that said, if you want to do podcasting for B2C, oh yeah, it's really great. 45 minutes, hour. Joe Rogan is even longer. And look at, he was paid 200 million, I think, or 100 million for his show to shift it from YouTube to Spotify. But this comment really stuck with me. It said that there's no point doing anything longer than a 10-minute podcast for B2B because everybody knows how to run a business, everybody knows what to do, and so you're just spouting a load of nonsense because you think you know it all. It's like, really? So if you look at this, you think, surely they're going to, if video is the most popular, surely they would explain and give all the statistics surrounding video. How long the video should be, what it should be about, how it should be filmed, who should be in anything, everything. Zero, virtually zero. It's nothing. And so you have to ask yourself, why? Why would that be? Why would they do that? And it's not that I'm cynical much, but it's not that I'm cynical. But when you've been spending so much time looking at what's been going on in B2B marketing, you then start to realise that there's a bit of laziness, fear, lack of creativity. My view, it's not really a view. The people that wrote this are content marketers. They are writers. So the writers, the copywriters, are advocating what they do. But they're also saying, yeah, but video is a bit too complicated, isn't it? You don't want to be doing that. You want to concentrate on what you do know. Us, here we are. We're the content writers here. You need us because look at all the statistics that we've got that relate to written content. Don't worry about audio stuff and video stuff. This is our craft. This is what we do. So you think, well, how often do people read this stuff? If you think that what is acceptable is that a piece of content written for a B2B audience is written and perceived to be good, and then if you want to read it, you've got to give your details in order to download or read or get access to it with marketing automation, going back to demand gen, lead gen, ABX. So you can write this content, doesn't matter what your content looks like, reads like, nobody's going to know until they give you their email address. You might think, well, that's okay, I'm quite happy with that. No, because you know and I know people don't want to give their email address out. They don't want to give all that information out. So then you come on to this. This is interesting. Demand base, big ABM organisation. 2 quotes on here. And the reason I've highlighted it, that I'm put a big arrow to it and so on, is the top heading says, buyers are even harder to reach than ever. And the writer, the author, is John Miller, who's the CMO at Demand Base. Says, personally, I avoid putting accurate data into a form since I know it'll get unwanted emails and phone calls. Wait a second. Wait a minute. He's confirming what I'm saying. So why would you want to buy into this? Why would anybody? If the buyers and people that are looking to learn can't get access to content, and if they do, they'll give you false or incorrect information, or worse, which is normally the case, I'm not filling out the form. I have to find out some information elsewhere. So it's a problem. But this is the same organisation that advocates reverse IP lookup and gifting. So I'm against reverse IP lookup because I think it's stalking. And when it comes to gifting, absolutely not, because it opens the door to other incentives to get people to buy. It's called bribery, but someone could easily say, "Is this all you're giving me?" Well, what else do you want? So you can see that there's this constant narrative from the marketing people and from marketing as an entity almost, and it strikes me that marketing have got the high ground, and they're defending the high ground, and they've done it in such a way that the marketers have told the business owners, this is what you need to do. The business owners have bought into it. So when it doesn't happen, they fire the marketers. I've spoken about this before. So there's a problem. And so it really boils down to this. Bit of Latin, buyer beware, caveat emptor. So the whole approach to B2B marketing is serious. It is not selling to consumers. You are selling to people, to businesses who want you to prove a return on investment, and they will assess the market and they will do it in their own time. And the difficulty with all of this is that you could almost say that the approach to generating new business going back 20, 30 years was as it was. So it's cold calling and BDRs, and that was it. And very little integration and interconnection with marketing. As marketing came onto the scene, digital marketing that is, became more prevalent, the perception was that we can continue with this understanding that generating new business is cheap. You can chuck people out there to do cold calling. You can chuck people out there to get on the phone. They're called BDRs. You've got this resource which is Sales Navigator, and you've got this machine which is called marketing automation, our automatic method of generating compliment slips or bits of information that relates to a customer, and then we just go and call them up and go and see them. No, it doesn't work that way. Everybody knows it doesn't work that way. And the shocking statistic of this is, if you read the Financial Times and you look at their statistics, and CB Insights and Harvard Business Review and so on, you've got this situation of statistics. Do you believe the statistics or not? Who do you want to believe? 91% of businesses after 10 years go out of business, go bust, according to the Financial Times. And according to Harvard Business Review, if you go back to the first set of figures, 20, 30, 50, first, second, third year. So 50% go bust by the third year, 91% by the 10th year, according to the Financial Times. And then Harvard Business Review say 40% of businesses that receive investment go bust, 75% never achieve the targets that they set themselves, and 95% don't make the investors a return on investment. So all the statistics are out there, all the information's out there, and the average tenure of a CMO is 18 months. So things are not good. But I suppose it's a bit like, in the event that nothing exists, that because people don't know of a different way to do it, well, we just better keep on doing what we're doing. And people will get what they've always got. So when it comes to content, because this is critical, because it's not like saying, well, actually, that there are so many different ways of engaging with a prospect. No, there aren't. You can produce something in writing. You can produce something audible, podcast. You can produce a video, or you can do this, which is live. There is nothing else. So of those, what do your prospects prefer? You don't know, and I don't know. So the easiest way is to exploit and do all four if you can. So that's what today's about. How do you exploit it? How do you make the most of it? And of course, by doing that, if it was evenly split, you got four ways of reaching customers, prospects. Call it 25% each. You only do one. You're only right. You're losing 75%. That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is that they all want to look at information at different times on different mediums because it suits them. Well, you're serving them, aren't you? You're serving your prospects and your customers. That's what this is about. And having that kind of servant mentality to support and give them what they want so they keep paying you. That's how it works. So with this, if you've got to look at exploiting your content, reaching more people, keep it simple. There is keep it super simple, keep it simple stupid, keep it strictly simple. There's lots of analogies, but you're with me on that, yeah? So the first thing is looking at this kind of the converting it to a podcast, and I think that the easiest way of kind of looking at this is why are we going to do this? Well, bearing in mind you've already got you've got this live streaming thing. So say you've bought into this, you go, right, we're going to do this live streaming thing. Great, we're happy with that. So then you're going to go, right, why convert it to a podcast, and what effort is involved, if any? You go, okay, well, there's about 4 million podcasts around. You can read that. 75 million of them are on Apple alone. And in the States, and you have to kind of accept this kind of globally in a way, with 320 million people living in the States, 62% listened and have listened and do listen to podcasts. That's a lot of people. So what's going on with it? Why is it constantly on the rise? Well, if we look at this stuff to begin with, top left, Apple kind of kicked it all off, didn't they? Really, way back when. You can now have channels on Apple, their podcasts, and they are pretty much the prominent player within the podcast community. Spotify, a couple of years ago, Spotify invested $500 million into their podcasting ecosystem, so to speak, to become kind of Spotify for podcasting, as well as Spotify for music. Spotify bought Anchor. Anchor promote video podcasting. YouTube, a week or 2 weeks ago, announced that every content creator, every organisation that is on YouTube that has a video can now convert that playlist to a podcast. You have to think about that for a second. The millions and millions and millions of video that's on YouTube can now be converted to a podcast. So, in kind of simple terms, Apple, Google, Spotify, investing billions into podcasting because it is a constantly growing medium. It's a no-brainer. So why aren't you doing it? Well, probably, and this goes for streaming and video, marketers are not really interested, because if the attitude is, we are just telling people what they already know. I'm disgusted with that comment. And the thing is that you as a business, or any business out there, they've got intelligence. They've got skin in the game. They've got time. They've done all this stuff that has taken them a long time. I just think I need to turn something down a bit. They've been doing this for a long time. They've got advice and information and support and different things that they can help other companies with. And for a marketer to turn and go, what do you know? Everybody knows how to run a business. Everybody knows how to... It's like, really? So I think that it is this this factor that, well, we're doing what we're paid to do. These marketers, we write stuff, and we are ticking the boxes that the directors accept we're ticking the boxes for. We're doing it. Job might be a bit tenuous, might be a bit knife edge all the time, and has been for the past 7-8 years for senior marketing people and CMOs. But nonetheless, there's a big pool of marketers out there, and when the time's up, you jump back in the pool and someone else picks you back out again. Not a problem. And everybody maintains that 120 grand per person per annum. So it's like, whoopee, great. And meanwhile, the people that you don't hear about are the failures, the people losing their companies, going, well, why? We've got a great product. We're not making it happen, and I think it's really sad. I think it's really sad. And so you've got to look at this lack of creativity, producing just-in-time marketing and kind of content to achieve KPIs, not deals. I don't care about KPIs. I only care about deals. I only care about revenue. That's what this is about. And it's a bit like I read this. Read and follow. There's a guy on YouTube, and he's using GPT and AI to look at producing and creating information that is indexable and is ranking on Google and so on. But this is men's Italian clothing. This is not B2B. But you see the figures go up, and it's just like, wow, they're just flying up there. It's great, 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 great. And like I said earlier, what are you using AI for? But the point of this is, if all this AI is there, and you can create these amazing landscapes, lunar landscapes, anything that you can ever think of. So how are you going to use that in B2B? And that's the problem. How are you going to use this in B2B? Because if you're looking at the buyer or the buying reality, who's buying what? That's what this is about, the buying reality. The marketers are not accepting that business owners buy differently to consumers. And that's if you don't get it, nothing's going to happen. And so when it comes to the kind of looking at a long-term plan, what do you do with podcasts? And do you look at podcasts themselves, or not quite sure? I showed this the other week. Just to do a show, any show. This is a talking head show, but to do a show for your company, you've got all these options. These are just 25 that I came up with, and you're only going to do 2 or 3 or maybe 4 in a given show. So there's absolutely no shortage of shows, and so you're going to go, well, who's going to watch them? What's going to happen? You go, well, if you look at this, you see these figures here. Ofcom say 25% of UK households listen to podcasts. And in the States, you've got, and it's 100, the average, read it, 17% of the households have got an income above 100 grand. And 28% have got university degrees, which just says that a more senior, differently educated person who tends to be in certain more senior positions listen to podcasts. So that's who listens. Where are they listening to this stuff? Well, the thing is, you've got devices and you've got locations. So you can listen to, they are listening to them in their cars because of products like that, whether it's Android or whether it's Apple CarPlay or whatever. They're listening to them in their cars. They're listening to them on their iPhones when they're travelling. So if they're on a train or driving, they can listen to it. You want to listen to the top 40 every day? Probably not. And so senior people are going to listen and learn and get information from the downloads that they've got. Then they're at home and they've got smart speakers. Hey Siri, put this on. So there's so many options here just to consume audible information. So you've got all this audible information, but you want to get found. You want to continue exploiting. So you've done your live show or your video, and you've got that information, and it's now become a podcast. But you still want to get found. The whole point of this is getting found. And so this was. I'm glad I got a different shirt on. We're looking at transcripts specifically. So after I've done this show, I then put it through a system, and it gives me the transcripts, and I clean it up. The reason I clean it up is because there are certain words that I might say very quickly, or certain technical words that it doesn't pick up. So it just needs to be cleaned up. Cleaned up, saved, re-uploaded, and I upload all of these shows onto our website with the transcript, with the subtitles, the closed captions as they're called. Why? Why would I do that? Well, there's two reasons. Most videos are watched in silence because they've got captions on them. So that's the first thing. And secondly, what the search engines don't do is that they don't go, oh, look, Nigel's uploaded a video. What we'll do is we'll go and transcribe that as best we can, save that data, and use it for indexing later. Said no search engine ever. It doesn't work that way. So at the moment you can get found on Google if you have a reasonable description, YouTube, a reasonable description and keywords in your title, that's it. But there's another part to it. If you ask Alexa, I want to give me a list of options to listen to, of podcasts to listen to, how's it going to know? Unless you have metadata that tells the search engine what your content's about. It's called structured data, and you create your transcript, which gets pasted into structured data, however you do it, and therefore the search engines are able to crawl your content, read it, and index it, and rank it. That's why that's so important. We use Buzzsprout as our host for our podcasts, and we're able to put that information into Buzzsprout. So every transcript that we've got, we put onto Buzzsprout so it can get indexed. And I just put RSS up there because you've seen that image of that logo before. Really simple syndicate. It just means that that's how they are distributed. So you go onto Buzzsprout, we go onto Buzzsprout, we post it just on Buzzsprout, and Buzzsprout syndicate it to 20 other platforms. So when we're talking about how to exploit our content, not just about taking something that was done visually like this, but we take the audio, reprocess the audio, get the transcript, put it into a platform, and then they syndicate it out to another 20 platforms. It's kind of happy days. So that's really important. So then, this is it technical? No, it's probably not. But I'm not going to treat you like you don't know anything technical at all. You saw this. I showed this last week. So you've got one host and you've got two guests. Okay, one host and three guests. So this is streaming live. Yeah. Now, the way of it's a technical thing, but the way you do this is you use two or three elements. You use a thing called a streaming bridge, which is just a box that you plug the Zoom call into what's called Zoom ISO, which ISO means isolate, and it means that you can isolate your audio specifically to enable you to have the highest quality audio to accompany your live stream and or video. And that's why you want to do that, so that you get the best quality. Now the thing is we've all seen this before, we've all done it before, or experienced this before. Is, you know, when I don't know, you might be looking at YouTube or something, and the picture quality is really rubbish, but the audio's good, so you can bear that. But as soon as you can have a great looking picture, but if the audio's bad, you can't stand it. I can't. And it's not a phenomenon, but people go, I can't be dealing with that. So it's really important to get the audio just right, just nice and clean and crisp. And there are different ways of doing this. You can use something like this, an all-in-one solution. If I go back to here, you can see we've got one of those types of units here. But the point of this is that you can just do audio. You don't have to do video every time. And if you are using something like this, which is a bespoke structured platform unit device that you will record high quality audio, you could plug output from this and plug it into your camera, and therefore you've got great audio without having to do any additional editing. All different options, but that's the point. So you've got your live show, and you've been able to exploit it because you've converted that live show and or video. And bearing in mind, really important point, if you're able to do live shows, you're able to do video, period. Same kit. So whether you do it in a studio or whether you take your kit to your prospects or your customers and you shoot them, talking about how wonderful your company is, you've got all the kit. Mics, lights, cameras, you're away. Okay. So go live and in person. Now, last week? I'm pretty sure it was last week and the week before. I've mentioned about a 10,000 name database. So we've talked about your total addressable market. We've established that if you're selling to companies that have got 50 employees or more, there's about 44,000 companies that fit that profile in terms of number of employees, which means they're turning over 6 million plus. So kind of go with that. There are smaller. There's 212,000 of companies in the UK of 10 employees to 50. But we just take the larger one. And off the larger one, choose 10,000. So you've got your SIC codes, you've chosen 10,000, you've got 10,000 name database. With that, because you've got all the postcode data and everything else, you can then decide where it would be most ideal to host a live show, to invite them to come and see you. But if you're based down in London and most of your customers are Manchester and Birmingham and Leeds and in the Midlands and further north, they're probably not going to want to schlep down to London to go and see you. So, put on a show. And whether you're launching something or you're just doing this but live and or a road show, this is where it starts getting really interesting. Because what are your options? If you're in the UK, and lots of people know this particular venue, you've got the Excel, and you've also got Earls Court. So in London, two very large locations to hold an event or to go and do an exhibition. But it ain't cheap. And it's not about cost, it's about effectiveness. So say, for example, you've seen this type of thing. You look at that and go, oh, it's a wedding or whatever. On the left, we've got a video wall and information and whatever you want. On the right-hand side, you've got a stage and a lectern and a place to do a presentation. And you've got all your customers and prospects in the middle. So you think, okay, well, I see where you're going with this, but bear with me on this because it gets better. You've seen these exhibition stands. They're all over the place. You've seen them again and again. But the point of this particular, showing this one, is the back. So we're talking about doing a live show. taking your live show on a road show, or doing a road show with an embedded live show with it. Most hotels have got pretty high broadband, which means you can stream, exactly as I'm streaming now. So an exhibition stand company can come along, build the stand for you, make it your studio, glass panels on the back, on the side of it, or at the front, sorry, and away you go. You've invited your guests to meet at a location, and you're streaming and recording. I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, this one on the left. The company that I quite like is a company called B Matrix, and you can go on their website, and you've got they've got their own CAD system, so you can build it out and so on. But you can do anything you like. But the point of this is you want to impress your customers. You want to impress prospects. You want to do something different. You want to follow the herd. It's tens of thousands. It costs thousands. You know how much it costs to do it, to go to an exhibition, because all those people are there. But you've got a 10,000 name database. So you've identified everybody that you want to sell to. So invite them to come and see you. Lay it on. You could let them have a glass of water, or you could provide tea and coffee all day, or you could provide lunch or a buffet or a gala evening. I mean, the sky's the limit. You can do anything you like. There's a download on our website. Covers lots of this information. But the point is that you've got this captive audience. So you've got your showing them your latest product, or reconfirming how to use it, or explaining an update. You've also got this thing about your existing customers because of cross-sell, upsell. I mean, of course you want your customers to be happy. That's the name of the game. And if you're looking at customer success, it's imperative. But how do you do that? And it's making sure that, yes, if you don't release your products too frequently and without testing, and you make sure that the products are fit for purpose. And that's kind of down to kind of the product manager, making sure that it's not released too soon. But at the end of the day, if you're maintaining this constant contact with your prospects your customers, maintaining that constant contact with your customers, you know what they want, you know what they're after. And so you take your operation to them. I mean, it's great if you're doing some event, I don't know, in Florida or the States or somewhere around the world, and you want them to attend. It's like, do you know what? It'd be a bit difficult, especially with how much you're allowed to gift them and the type of location you're able to put them up in. Bit difficult. But taking your roadshow to them, now that's different. And then, of course, you've got your you've got partners and resellers and just general networking. You don't need me to tell you about this, but if you work through partners and resellers, it's a way of engaging with them and bringing them up to date, however you want to do it. But it's rather than doing this, your business com, or con, CON, as in the conferences. Has it had its time? Probably. People don't really want to go and be flying all over the place. There's cost, and there's, why are you doing this? What do you expect from us? I think it lends itself to too many questions. And then we kind of get on to how long and putting this into a bit of perspective as well. In the first year, as I've spoken about with these previous shows, in the first year, get your content sorted. And get your website ready so it can sell digitally, as I've defined before, and get the live show up and running. This kind of setup, being able to do this, whether it's in a small office, excuse me, or whether you have it in a bespoke room like we talked about, like, green screen it and sofas and however you want to do it. But get that right, get that done. The second year, get your road shows organised. And you video absolutely everything. Because I don't know what you'd need to do in the third year, because if you are showing your prospects in the third year, look at what we do, look at how we work, look at how we function. And that's got to be the place that you want to be. The stuff that's been going on, it's a lot of effort and not very much reward, because people are being kept at that 100 grand, 120 grand per person per annum ceiling. So if you want to break away from that, if you want to double it, quadruple what you're doing, you have to change the way that you work. And if it was really expensive, you wouldn't do it. And this isn't. It's the opposite. It will cost you less than you are paying now. Period. Period. So we get onto this part, which is where you're going to go with this. And we have a page on our website, which is our Go Live page. But we've got this thing with content and costs. You need to know what should you have and how much is it going to cost overall. You need to know that. And we've got a spreadsheet for that. It's a 24 tab spreadsheet with absolutely, you need 6 of them, 2 of them, 5 of them, some of that, but tick, 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 put the numbers in, and it gives you the total cost and the total amount of time it would take. I was quite pleased with that. The deliverables, the live stream strategy, what does it look like? How's it going to work? What should be done? These are methods, these are kind of documents for you to process so that you can come up with your own if you want to, or we'll work them and come up with a solution for you. The Gantt chart, again, someone's, a popular question, a common question, well, how long is it going to take? Well, what do you need? If you've got great content and all you need to do is just get rid of that email form because your content's great and it conforms to that markdown format and everything else, you just need to get it indexed by Google, well, it's not going to take very long at all. But if you need to work through that, then you need to identify what type of content you need to serve whom. And finally, the statement of works, which is kind of who does what, when and where and who's responsible for whatever. So the point of producing these documents, and they're all on here, on this page here. So if you go to our website, Go Live tab, you'll see it is just one page. There's no drop down with it, as there are with the others. It's just this page. And these are the sections that we've done. We did the initial intro live stream. And then we did stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, which is, I've called it project management. I don't really know what else to call it. It's the best thing to call it, really, which is today. So we've got the 4 there. The corresponding content all relates to that. Click on the tab below at the bottom, and you'll get these documents to download. And that's it. That's it for today. So we've covered those items. So you kind of on the assumption that you're going to say, oh, we've got all this content. We're streaming, we're video and everything else. What do we do next? How do we keep moving this process forward? Well, we've covered that with your podcasting, the issues to do with transcript and why, and how to use them, and then taking the show on the road and taking your business to your prospects, but in a very, very different way. And I think that it is a matter of realizing that what we, and I say guilty of it, it's not wrong, kind of the wrong, it's the wrong word. we have all followed what the great and the good told us to do. It doesn't make sense if every single company is using the exact same software. Everybody's got marketing automation, using pay-per-click, landing pages, and so on and so on, ABM, ABX. Everybody, every B2B is using the same tools, yet everybody thinks that they can make it better than the next company. Yet everybody is doing the same turnover per person per annum, averaging. So do what you've always done, get what you've always got. It doesn't make sense that you are going to better your competition. The only way you could even remotely think that that would be a possibility is by saying, well, we've got the world's best copywriter for headlines in the world working for us. Really? Where do you work before? Don't quote me. Coca-Cola. Well, they're selling drinks. You're selling software. So what? How do these people in business buy stuff? Oh, I don't know. I'm just getting people to buy drinks. So it's ludicrous. It just doesn't make sense. But the trouble is, you will get businesses, you will come across colleagues and within your own companies and so on. People will fight you to keep things as they are, simply because that's what they understand. I know how to do this. Yeah, but it doesn't work. It doesn't matter. I know how to do this. You've got to change. I'm not changing. It doesn't make sense. And clearly this isn't a close, because we cannot close anyone. This has to be done from the heart, from your heart, to go, well, actually, I think he's got a point here. Maybe we should just have a chat. Okay, there's my close. Maybe we should just have a chat. Just give me a call, message me, and we'll just have a chat and put you on the right direction, point you in the right direction. If there is, I suppose the best way of putting it, if there is an opportunity for us to work with you, then it will be revealed. If there isn't, equally, it will be revealed. But we've presented ourselves in such a way that means that absolutely everything's in writing. Absolutely everything's accessible on our website. Absolutely everything I've said is referenceable through statistics and reports and the internet and everything else that proves what we're saying, what I'm saying, is just simply accurate. True or false, just accurate. It's what they've said, what other people have researched. And so you kind of take with a pinch of salt, it's talking about whether you're looking at content, whether you're looking at ABM, ABX. It's like, people can say what they like. Can't stop them. Buyer beware, caveat emptor. So when it comes to the decision that you make as a company about how you move forward, you can guarantee pretty much what you're doing at the moment. You've got to maintain that activity so that you've got this. You've seen the plate spinners at circuses, So you've got your plate spinners and you're keeping it going. You're spinning them, and keep. That's how you maintain your 120 grand per person per annum. That's it. There's no other way, unless you do something different. But doing something different, it means that you have to acknowledge, not admit, just acknowledge. Well, it's not working at the moment. And what we're saying, we're not saying trash everything. Because you wouldn't. Nobody in business would do that. You might do it in parallel, though. But I'll leave that for you to think about. So we look at this now. This is for next week. It's the end of this short series. And really it's to give you an opportunity. If you want to message me, great. We'll answer whatever question you've got. We don't mention names ever. because I'm an absolute firm believer that it is imperative to remain anonymous. We all want our anonymity. And whilst you might be saying, my name is X, we'd like an answer to this question, I am not going to follow it up and say, oh, but can we come and talk to you and sell to you? I'm not going to do that. I will never do that. When you're ready, if you're ready, tell me. And the reason I'm happy doing it that way is because I've said, in a way, I've said everything I need to say. It's all out there. It's written. It's in video and podcast and streamed and diagrams and infographics and download everything. You can find out a significant amount of information about me. But the thing is, it's me. It's not some big company. It's me. So I've put all this together. It's taken a lot of time. It's accurate. And if you want to get involved to look at something, the likelihood is that it would happen very quickly, as in the execution of whatever we need to do would happen very quickly. But when it comes to, if you want to do it yourself because you've got your staff, we've got a team for that and a team for that, great, do it. All the information is online. Keep in touch though. I want to know how you get on. So I've said this before, that there's this thing about holding something like that. If you hold it like that, what's the point? You're not providing any value. But hold it like that. You want to do it yourself? Be my guest. There's nothing on our website that requires an email form to be filled out. Anywhere. There's no tracking, no nothing. But if you want to do it quickly, then you go, well, we'll give them a call. So next week, so we've got this for next week. Did I miss anything? I'm going to have a think about this. Did I miss anything? I can't remember. How to go about getting started? Where do we think is the best place to start with our website and what we're doing? What are we doing next? And I'm going to look at some of our statistics to talk a bit more about Social 444 because we practice what we preach, of course. And so we see the uptick and down and the changes of impressions versus engagement and so on. A bit about behind the scenes because you can't see what I can see. And there's stuff all around here. I'll put another camera up so you can see it. And also we'll do the FAQs and the Q&As as we said before. And Liz, my wife and partner and co-director, she'll be with me, and we will do a different format. We're not going, we don't need to do this the whole time. We'll have a different format. Maybe I'll move along here so she can sit there. But we'll basically answer your questions. Do whatever. See how it goes. We'll have coffee on and maybe a glass or two for the end of the first series. But that's it. That's it from me for now. Hope you enjoyed it. Watch us next week. Join us next week. And then, like I said, I will share what we're going to do for the future. And I think it's going to be a combination of this plus the podcast thing and having that roll forward, because we've done everything, we've got everything, and I think there's this desire. We know that there's this desire because people don't know what to do differently. That's just how it is, and so we're here with something that is different that will flip your profitability and pipeline. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day today, tomorrow and weekend, and I hope you can join me next week. Bye for now.